Ripping up wax.
Hi, this is the Brassy Gamer, and if there is a condition that people have which causes them to compulsively purchase old equipment online, then I think I have it. Usually the kind of thing that I like to acquire, as you probably know already, is this kind of thing. It's a Toshiba T1000 from 1987, which is basically one of the first LCD laptops that's IBM compatible. This is something a little bit different. Truth of the matter is that before I was into computers, I was into music. So I would, I'd have my cassettes and I'd record the chart show and, make compilations and stuff like that. So I'm super, super excited about this. So let's get it open and see what it is. Okay, this thing is a bit more beaten up than I thought it would be. Which hopefully means that once it's restored, it should look even more amazing. So this is a completely accidental purchase. I was not looking to buy a retro mixer. Not really. I mean, I've got one already, as in I've got a new one, like a Behringer, but it's not quite working properly. So I thought, I'll try and find a cheap one, secondhand online. And then I saw the name Roland. Now, this CPM-120 Mark II is essentially a Boss BX800 strapped on to a power amplifier. So we've got the box itself here, which is somehow secured to this amp down here, which has, I don't know what the rated, there we are, RMS 60 watt, 4 ohm, and 120 watt, 8 ohm. It's a little bit disappointing. But this is the bit that I'm mostly interested in, because this is an analogue mixer. So most of the new ones are digital, which, as we all know, produces a much more, a much colder clinical sound. Now, as you can see, well, this was buy it now for 20 quid, I think it was. Buy it now, I mean, that was just a complete bargain. I had to go for it really, no matter what condition it was in. As you can see, it's kind of battered. This has seen a lot of use. So I don't know how much I can do. I'm probably going to be looking to strip all of the paint off this. And, you know, on the outside anyway, the panel doesn't actually look too bad. I could probably clean this up with, you know, standard detergent and such. But I would like to strip it down, clean it out. You've got the master faders missing here apparently, which is why it was such a low price, because they said they couldn't test it because of that. But guess what? I don't need 8 channels. So we're going to crack this baby open, nick a couple of the, well, probably test the existing channels to see what's picking up input. Check the pots and everything, see if they're working properly, and select a couple of channels that are maybe not working so great. Steal the sliders to put onto the master output, and then we should have a nice looking, you know, nice working mixer. And I don't know about the amp, I don't know if I can separate this and have it as a discrete unit, but I'm looking forward to working on this one. I've never restored an audio product before. Lots of experience with laptops and such, but you know, these things aren't that much different. If we're replacing capacitors, that's fine. If we're cleaning up dirty circuit boards, that's fine. If we're desoldering and resoldering, that's fine. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having a go at this, and let's see what it looks like at the end of the process. Okay, so here we have it. I can't actually believe how light this thing is without the amp attached, but it looks pretty clean on the inside, which is good. But I've noticed we do have an issue down here. There's a crack in this board. Not sure how that would have happened, but that is mounted to a wire there. So we need to check what that one does. And we do have a bunch of capacitors on the output board here, so pretty sure I'm going to be replacing those. And then we'll take this board off as well, see what's on the other side of that, and see if there's any components we need to take a look at. Okay, so the only obvious internal damage we've got is these variable resistors. They've just been snapped off. So if I can get replacements, that'd be great, but it's unlikely. Much more likely to desolder those and take a couple of these instead. And the rest of these pots are looking pretty good. We've got some tantalum capacitors there. They have a tendency to explode if they're old. But even the electrolytic ones, I can't see any leakage. I can't see any marks at all on the PCB. So I think what I'm going to do is, once I've cleaned it up, use it once in its original state and then decide where to go from there. As you can see, this board, the sockets, they're pretty filthy. Got more capacitors there which look okay. And yeah, as always with capacitors, heat is the biggest killer of these, and these aren't going to get particularly hot, you know. Everything's pretty filthy. This is going to look great when it's cleaned up. I think it's going to look really good. This is just dirt. It looks a bit like rust at first glance, but I think it's just filth. Yeah, people's like skin and hair and nose hairs and bogies and everything in there. So let's give that a bit of a clean up, and then let's get this soldered back together again. This is halfway through cleaning the mixing board. Not cleaned. Cleaned. Now I don't know what this stuff is, because at first glance you might think that there was some rust and stuff on there, and I think there is a little bit of corrosion, which is what you would expect from, you know, people sweating on this over the years. But whatever it is, it's like oily and sticky and gunky, and I tried the paintbrush and it just didn't shift it. So I used the toothbrush instead. And that kind of shifted it, but I had to keep on cleaning the toothbrush because it's getting all gunked up. But I think you'll agree, the difference is quite marked. So halfway through cleaning this board, it's taking a while, but it's worth doing. And what I really love about this board is how analog it is. I mean, pretty much the only IC logic you've got is the decoder for the LED displays. Everything else is analog logic, and it's just so kind of pretty and clever the way that it's laid out. And what struck me was the spacing between the pots. Obviously you need enough space to be able to tweak it comfortably while it's operating, but in a way, if you look at the way it's spaced relative to the components, it's almost defined by that rather than by ergonomic reasons. So in a way, by using your fingers to tweak these pots, you are paying respect to the actual electronics that make it possible to manipulate the sound that you're working with. And it's this kind of perfect blend between human ergonomics and electronic engineering. So yeah, it's just from that point of view, it really struck me. These variable resistors are really grainy. I don't know if I can clean those up at all, but we'll see how they operate. Once I've got it all cleaned up, I'll put it back together, see how it works, and then we'll see if there's any other repairs need to be done. So there were two channels that weren't working, so rather than troubleshoot those, all I've done is I've taken the variable resistor sliders off those channels and taken off the old broken ones from the main channels and swapped them over. So now we've got two redundant channels, which is fine because this is an 8-channel mixer. And now all we do is get the contact area nice and hot so you can just put the solder on, and it flows from the actual metal contact itself, not the soldering iron. So then you know it's hot enough, and then you know it's going to flow. Not quite picked up there, and then it should cover the entire pad. And there we go, spot the difference. So those are the two that I removed. Those are the two resistors that I removed, and there is the two new ones. Fairly tidy job, so hopefully the mixing board has been fully cleaned. It's looking pretty good now. I just soldered up that part of the board there just for the conductivity, as it seemed to be important.